In 2017, communication professionals summarize their messages in 140 characters on Twitter, use social media effortlessly, and follow the news worldwide in real time. Their work requires openness and transparency, the success of which is measured in digital data and clicks. They communicate in a post-truth era. Hold on, does this mean that the olden days were more truthful? "1937 was a tense year in Finland. The army called up the most skillful communication professionals of the time from the reserves, men who could talk, write, articulate and manipulate. The Propaganda Union was established to further the defence cause. It began to enthusiastically plan the marketing for the 1940 Olympics. In the autumn of 1939, everything changed. War between Finland and the Soviet Union broke out. The Winter War was one of the earliest media wars. From autumn 1939, the propagandists in the State Information Bureau and Army wrote news and stories about the front, which were published in newspapers and read out on the radio. The messages emphasized that Finland was fighting on behalf of the whole of Western culture and freedom. Photographs were used as propaganda evidence, and the foreign media keenly followed events. In the autumn of 1945, the Second World War ended and the wartime propaganda organizations were disbanded. The wartime PR officers returned to their civilian professions. However, the war had united them and given them a taste of a new profession. Some of them wanted to continue in-country propaganda for Finland and help in rebuilding the country. To this end, these wartime PR men founded the Society of Public Relations in 1947. Issues were discussed over monthly lunch engagements. The concept of propaganda had become a burden. For the development of a consumer society, a better term was needed: information or public relations, PR. In the lead up to the Olympics, Finland strived to create a positive image. The Games brought Finland favourable international attention, and at the same time, the last of the war reparations were paid. It was the dawn of a new era, and they were joyful times of an economic boom. The information professionals maintained good relations abroad. Through business partners, they were able to get affordable tickets for foreign trips. In the 50s, the internal and external information needs for companies and unions expanded. Professional communications was desperately needed. Companies established their own employee magazines and hired in-house journalists. These journalists had their own fast-growing association. At the same time, a tension was born between the public relations and independent journalist professions that is still present today. All information and PR professionals needed training to support them in their work. One of the first educators was Osmo Alvio, whose shrewd observations on communications left a permanent mark. At the end of the 60s, more and more communication professionals were women, especially in internal communications. At the same time, society began to radicalize and communications spread to all areas of society.
Oli suuremmoista voida olla näissä molemmissa ammateissa just 70-luvulla, koska se oli just se taitekohta, missä yrityksissä ensin tämä vaikuttaminen nähtiin suostutteluna tai jopa lahjontana. Ja sitten kun siirtyi taloustoimittamiseen, niin huomasi, että siellä oli vallalla samat käytänteet. Ja oikeastaan sitten vasta ajan mittaan, ehkä 80-luvulla voi ajatella, että ilmapiiri raikastui ja etiikka teki entreen.
The Finnish Association of Organisational Communicators managed to struggle on thanks to the voluntary work and enthusiasm of its members. Relations abroad were cherished. The association adapted international ethical procedures to better suit Finland and educated its members. The effort to bring respect to the profession continued. A 1987 study of the profession showed the harsh truth. Upper management and marketing people saw little value in the role of a publicist. Professor Leif Uguri began to research the relationship between marketing and organizational communications.
Mä lähdin pohtimaan sitä, että ei tässä ole kyse mistään kilpailusta, vaan kyse on viestinnästä, joka toimii vähän eri mekanismeilla, mutta jolla pitäisi olla yhteinen päämäärä. Siitä syntyi tämä kuuluisa pizza.
At the end of the 80s, beginning of the 90s, companies used more technology than ever in their communications. Multi-image presentations used up to 24 slide projectors, and visual narration was enhanced with emotionally charged soundtracks.
Nämä yritysvideot ja silloiset multsarit, niin nehän oli tarkoitettu yrityksen presentointiin. Ja suurin osa siitä presentoinnista tapahtui siellä yrityksessä.
Ja mitä isommaksi se firma kasvoi, niin sitä vähemmän voitiin keskittyä johonkin yksittäiseen tehtaaseen tai tämmöiseen johonkin tuotteeseen. Tai että siinä piti tehdä suuria linjoja. Että ei tarvinnut kertoa, että montako tonnia me nyt tehdään sitä paperia tai kuinka paljon sitä metsää nyt käytetään, vaan puhuttiin näistä asioista, jotka oli näitä arvoasioita.
The fast pace of technology in the early 90s revolutionized the work of the communication professional. The internet was new, and in a 1997 member survey, communicators' web behavior was characterized as nice and work-oriented. Professor Pekka Aula pondered whether the different media generations would live side by side, on paper and in fibre optic cables. There was an economic boom at the turn of the century. The currency switched from the national currency, the mark, to the euro. The internet was becoming commonplace, and social media made everybody a content producer, for better or for worse.
Internet on tehnyt sen, että kellään ei ole enää varaa olla omissa siiloissaan. Ja viestinnän ammattilaiset tekeekin paljon yhteistyötä HR:n, markkinoinnin, IT:n, johtamisen, monien muiden organisaation sisäisten toimintojen kanssa.
Marketing and communications have moved closer to each other throughout the 21st century, and more communication professionals are joining management teams at companies.
Procomin rooli on todella tärkeä viesti- ja ammattikuvan kehittymisessä sen takia, että se on yhteisö, jossa yksilöt voi peilata omaa ammattikuvaansa ja sitä kautta rakentaa omaa identiteettiä.
The truth has not disappeared. It just takes more effort to dig it out.